No, they didn't ask you any questions. Alright, next time I'll make sure to ask them if they have questions for Rigby, okay? Hey, what's going on, you guys? StrangeLuv here, and I decided to put together another Q&A video because I know a lot of you might be new to my channel and you might not know a whole lot about me, so I figured it was a good time to address those burning questions. So last week I asked you guys for some questions on Twitter and Facebook, and I got a whole handful of questions, but some of them are a little bit more answerable than others, so I'm gonna omit a few of the questions. If you didn't get yours answered, I'm sorry, but I also don't want this video to be super long, but I will try to get through as many questions as I can. It's also raining outside, so if it sounds like somebody's peeing in the background, it's probably the rain. Probably. Alright, so the first question is from Giancarlo, and he asks, so you're in college, what's your major and stuff? Alright, so yes, I'm in college. I'm getting my bachelor's degree. Next semester is my last semester, and I'm getting my degree in linguistics with a minor in philosophy. And if you don't know what linguistics is, it's basically the study of language and all of its little yummy components. And no, you don't have to know multiple languages to study linguistics. That's a common misconception. But I'm having a lot of fun with it, and hopefully I will be done very soon because I've been in school for much longer than I should have been. The next question comes from Campophobic, and he asks, how come you don't sound like a Valley girl like serious drama if you're really from Cali? Are you really from there? Like, oh my god, you don't think I sound like a Valley girl at all? Very astute observation, Campophobic. I'm actually not from California, I'm from Nevada. I was born and raised in Reno, and that might be why I don't sound like a typical Valley girl. The whole west coast of the United States generally is considered to have the same accent, and the Valley Girl accent is very specific to, like, the San Fernando Valley region of California, so really not everybody in California even talks like that. But I have been told that when I get worked up, I do sound like a redneck. I don't know. Alright, so the next question comes from Alex, and he asks, how did you start gaming and what made you become a commentator? And this actually goes with another question from Mark, who asks, what video inspired you to be a commentator? So I'm going to try to answer those both at the same time. Alright, so I started gaming when I was a little girl, and my dad got me a Sega Genesis. That was my first console I ever had. We didn't have a whole lot of money growing up, so I didn't get to play on all of the consoles that a lot of my friends had. And actually, a lot of my gaming experience took place at my friends' houses because I didn't really get to own all of the games that everyone was playing. But I did have a few games, but I played a lot on Nintendo 64, like, you know, Mario Kart, Mario 64. I started playing Zelda later in life. I didn't have Zelda at the time, but I'm glad I got to experience that. GoldenEye, which I was not very good at, but I still love GoldenEye. And ever since then, I've just been sort of playing things on and off, and here I am. So, as far as commentating goes, I really never considered myself a commentator. Yes, I do commentate over some gameplay, but that wasn't really the direction I was going with when I started YouTube. And actually, when I started YouTube, it was because a friend of mine asked me to do a dual comm with him on one of his YouTube videos, and he since then has sort of stopped uploading videos on his channel because of, you know, work-related things, and he's traveling all over the place and stuff, so he doesn't really upload videos anymore, but it was for a series he was doing called Gaming with Beauty, and his channel is Sons of Justice, so I don't know if you guys ran across his channel ever, but yeah, I did a dual comm with him, and we talked about video games. At the time, I was playing Black Ops, and then I was like, hey, you know what, I could do this, I can upload videos, so I started looking into what it took. I bought myself an HD PVR, and the rest is history, so here I am. So hopefully that answers your question. And I just noticed another question from Colleen, who asked, what was your first video game you ever played? And I sort of answered it in there, but my first game I ever played was Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis as far as the at-home consoles go, but I did play a lot of arcade games at the casinos, because I grew up in Reno. My mom was usually gambling on the casino floor, and she would kind of leave me in the arcade as my babysitter, I guess. And I would play a lot of arcade games, so I know a lot of arcade versions of things. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Time Crisis, all of those I grew up with. Alright, so the next question is going to be from Robbie, who asks, what would be the best to start a YouTube channel for someone who wants to get one going, and what kind of gameplay? Okay, so when you start a YouTube channel, you have to ask yourself what you're trying to get out of it. When I started my channel, I was just having fun. I uploaded some random Tomahawk footage from Black Ops from the theater mode. It wasn't even when I had the HD PVR yet, but if you're starting a YouTube channel and you're trying to get YouTube famous and be one of those really, really big popular commentators, I would say that is not the direction to take, because everybody and their mama is doing YouTube now, especially with gameplay videos, so it gets harder and harder to get recognized as more people are trying to jump on this whole bandwagon of YouTube. So I would suggest that you make a YouTube channel only if you want to have fun with it, you want to be creative and make interesting videos with cool editing and graphics and stuff like that, or if you really just want to commentate, then go for it. But I wouldn't necessarily go in the route of trying to get famous off of it, so as far as what kind of gameplay goes, play the kind of games that you want to play. It doesn't have to be the most popular game that everybody's playing, and yes, sometimes it does help to upload things that maybe people might be searching for at the time if you want to get a little bit more known, but I would just play what you like to play, because otherwise YouTube will just become a chore and you don't want that to happen. Plus, making YouTube videos can get a little bit expensive because you're going to want to make high quality gameplays, because that's the kind of stuff that people are going to gravitate toward, so you're going to need something to capture your gameplay in good quality, like an HD PVR or HD capture card, or if you're doing it on the PC you're going to need Fraps or DxTory, and then you're going to need something that can render out the videos in an editor, so you'll need Sony Vegas and Adobe After Effects. Then if you want to start streaming, you're going to need stuff like XSplit or Wirecast, and a computer that can run all these things and render out the videos. So it can really add up, and some people don't anticipate how much money they might spend just making YouTube videos, so keep that in mind if you're trying to make a YouTube channel. Alright, so the next question comes from two different people, but it's the same question. Lord Scorpion and Mark both asked, do you play Minecraft? I actually don't play Minecraft. I probably should give it a shot because I know a lot of people like Minecraft and have suggested it to me, but just based on looking at it, it's not really something that I would get into. But you never know, I might give it a shot. I'm not opposed to the idea of playing Minecraft, so we'll see in the near future. Campophobic asks, what is your favorite controller of all time and what system? My favorite controller right now has to be the Xbox 360 controller. It just fits my hands really well. I love the triggers for first-person shooters. I prefer playing first-person shooters on console rather than PC just because of how the controller is set up. The other controller that I really like is the Nintendo 64 controller because it has those two sort of phallic pieces, one with the joystick and the other one on the buttons, and it just fits your hands really well for some reason. So I would have to say the N64 controller and this one right here. Christian asks, are you going to get into PC gaming? And I don't really know what that means because I have games on the PC and I do play on the PC. I just happen to play on the console a lot more. If you mean if I'm going to give up the console and play only on the PC, probably not. I'm much more comfortable on the console. Plus I play a lot of FPS games and I feel like this makes more sense as far as shooting goes. You pull a trigger and it just fits my hands better. It's much more comfortable. I've tried playing first-person shooters on the PC. Actually, my boyfriend and I set up a whole gaming computer that can run Battlefield 3. I just can't really get used to the WASD and the mouse for shooting and playing the game. And actually I have a trackball mouse, so that might be part of the reason why. So a lot of my movements are with my thumb, my little toe thumb. So I've tried to get used to it, but I'm just not super comfortable using the mouse and keyboard to navigate. But there's a lot of games that I would prefer playing on the PC because they're designed for that. Things like StarCraft, if I ever got into it, SimCity or Roller Coaster Tycoon, all of those things fit the PC really well. Roller Coaster Tycoon has taken up so many hours of my life as a child. That was another game that I played a lot of, and I remember just staying up for days at a time just playing and playing and playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I had the Rockefeller money glitch, so I just had endless money. Roller Coaster Tycoon is like crack. And that kind of is a nice segue into the next question from Judge Kitty. What one game would you play for the rest of your life and nothing else? Okay, well, I could go two different directions with this. One would be, what game is so addicting that I could play for the rest of my life? I would have to say something like Roller Coaster Tycoon, because that is the one kind of game that I've been able to just submerge myself in and play and just lose track of time, and I feel like if I had to play that and nothing else, I would be happy. So, Roller Coaster Tycoon. But, if there was a game that was updated all the time for the rest of our lives, was constantly getting DLC and patch updates and new content added to it, I would pick something else like maybe Darksiders 2, or even Far Cry would be really fun to play forever. Or I would go with something old school like Majora's Mask. Alright, Adrian asks, what future system would you want to get if you had the money? And I know a lot of you are probably thinking I'm going to say PS3, but if I had the money, I guess if I was rich off my ass, I would get a PS3, but I don't necessarily want a PS3. I would only want it if I was going to play certain games like Uncharted or Journey or Shadow of the Colossus or something like that. But I don't want to really save up my money to get a PS3 because a lot of the next-gen consoles are going to be out very soon, and if I had the money, I would probably invest in whatever Microsoft is going to put out. Alright, Guitar Dude asks, do you play or like Battlefield? I'm going to assume you mean Battlefield 3, and I already answered that. Actually, I have it for the PC and for the console. BF3 is not very good on the Xbox 360, I think a lot of people know that, so I don't really prefer playing Battlefield 3, and on the PC, I just had not a whole lot of fun experiences with it. I would get spawn killed a lot, and again, the controls are just not something I'm comfortable with anyway, so, yeah, I have Battlefield 3 on 2 different systems, but I don't really play it. I much prefer Medal of Honor Warfighter, that's for sure. Trayvon asks, if I have never played any of the other Far Crys, is it okay to jump into Far Cry 3? Yes, Far Cry 3 and all of the Far Crys are standalone games, so you can play them all separately, and it doesn't matter if you played the one previous. They all stand alone, so definitely go pick up Far Cry 3. It's a lot of fun, especially the campaign. It's so intense and crazy in a very literal sense, and plus the map editor is awesome, and the multiplayer is really not that bad, so it's a really good package deal. I would definitely recommend you get Far Cry 3. Next question comes from Dal J. Pace, and he asks, what is your biggest fear and who is your role model? For the biggest fear, I would have to say driving in the snow up through Lake Tahoe in a crappy 93 Ford Tempo. As far as the role model goes, I don't really look up to any one person or emulate anybody else. There's certain aspects of other people that I find intriguing, but I don't really necessarily want to be like them. I just try to look at myself in the third person and try to be the person that I want to see, and if I'm happy with it, then it's all good. I want to live with no regrets, so hopefully that's a good enough answer. Alright, William asks, where do you see yourself in 10 years? 10 years is so far away. I don't even know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, much less 10 years from now. I usually don't think that far ahead. I guess maybe I'll be making the YouTube money. But really, I don't know what I'll be doing in 10 years. I would hope that I would just have a stable job, a nice place to live, I'll be surrounded with the people that I love, and that's all I can really ask for. I don't know. I can't really narrow down the specifics, but I still will be playing video games, that is for sure. Potato Hernandez asks, what is your favorite C's candy? I would definitely say any of the buttercreams. I love any sort of cream filling. I don't really like the fruity or nutty fillings. And that's kind of what she said. Next question comes from Roundman, and he says, I have a very serious question. In the event of a zombie apocalypse, what is your game plan? Very good question, Roundman. Everybody should have a game plan for the zombie apocalypse, so I think I would gather up all of my guns, and yes, I have guns. Then I would probably gather up a bunch of supplies and go hijack somebody's yacht so that I could go float out into the middle of Lake Tahoe or into the middle of the bay or something and just hang out there, because from what I've seen, zombies don't really take to the water too well, so I think that's a pretty good game plan. I wouldn't want to get stuck on a rooftop or anything like that. So, yeah, I would gather up as many weapons as I could, probably find myself a compound bow, and make a bunch of arrows, and get ready with my guns and arrows, and just go all Far Cry style out into the middle of the lake. And if Nazi zombies has taught me anything at all, I'd probably set up a whole bunch of traps as well, and I would also invest in some cola machines. But if you guys have a game plan for the zombie apocalypse and want to give me some tips and suggestions, let me know in the comments below, and hopefully we'll both be survivors when the world goes to shit. Alright, I'm just gonna take a couple more questions because this video is getting really long. The next question comes from Fly Rage, and he asks, if there were a Darksiders 3, which characters would you like to see portrayed out of the remaining 2 left in the series? That's a really good question because Darksiders 2 is definitely one of my favorite games this year, and I think a lot of us fans are really looking forward to a Darksiders 3, but with THQ's whole financial problems right now and everything, we don't know if that's in the works or not. But out of the 2 characters left, there's Strife and Fury, and I believe Fury is the female character. I would like to see her portrayed a little bit more because I'm more interested in seeing really strong, powerful female characters, and since these are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, I think she would be pretty badass to play with. Another thing they could do with Darksiders 3 is make both Strife and Fury as playable characters in the third installment, and I think that would be really badass to just go back and forth between the two different characters and then have the whole storyline come together in the end. Epic Tuna asks, what is my favorite movie and TV show? I can't narrow down my favorites, I like too many things, but out of some of my top favorite TV shows, I like Breaking Bad, 24, Avatar: The Last Airbender, regular show. It really depends on my mood. I like a lot of things. As far as movies go, I can't narrow it down. I like a lot of stuff too. And the last question that a lot of you asked is, do I have a boyfriend? Yes, I do. We've been together for quite some time. I think about 7 years now. So that pretty much does it for this Q&A video, you guys. Thanks so much for watching and submitting your questions. If you want me to do another Q&A in the near future, let me know in the comments below, ask me some more questions, and make sure to give this video a like rating. So take care, my strange lovers, and until next time, this is StrangeLuv and Mini Rigby signing out. Bye!